You're listening to Radio in the Weeds. Enjoy the show. Hello everybody and welcome back to Radio in the Weeds. We have been gone for quite a while.
This is weird.
It's weird? Why is it weird?
It's just been a while, hasn't it? How are you, Scott?
It has been a while. We've had a pretty wild time of it. I'm good. How are you holding up, Matt?
I would have to say I'm a bit shook up after what we experienced, but I'm alive.
Good to be back. Good
You're
to
alive?
be back, am I? I'm alive.
Well,
Mainly.
that's...
I've got 3 of my limbs. So
Wait, well, do you?
I feel like that's good going.
Yeah, no, I'm actually absolutely fine.
Because I did have 2, but then I took one off that guy on the way back from where we went.
Yes.
So for the viewers, basically, we'd like to take this time. We know we've been away for a long time, and we'd like to take this time to just explain why, how, when, where, and with who.
Yes.
All the 5 W's that you need to really satisfy yourselves.
Yeah, to write an English essay.
Exactly, and there will be an essay on this.
Yes, and we want all the viewers to submit them.
Yes, please.
And we'll mark them.
All the oh well, I'm not sure about that.
I will.
We might. Oh, Matt will. That's fine.
Yeah.
So, for the viewers, we need to go to the very start, way back in February, okay, and sort of explain our absence. So, if we go all the way back, last episode.
If you listened to it, which
if
you did, I apologise.
You know, as a creative medium, I don't want to really shit on anyone's ideas, but it wasn't one of our best.
No. I can't honestly remember whose idea it was.
I think it was yours.
We'll just assume that then, it's fine.
Yeah.
But, if we did not have this such an awful podcast, we wouldn't have had this an amazing adventure. So, you're welcome.
Adventure. Yeah, well, for every cloud, there's a silver lining, you know? So, after this horrendous podcast, just truly...
Steaming.
Revolting podcast, me and Matt felt just a little bit dirty, you know, a little bit stinky. We had the stink of failure on us.
Exactly.
So we decided to just take a bath together.
Like we do every time
we normally do.
Have like a disagreement, a bad podcast, like anything that's like negative in our relationship. We like to, you know, like I'm sure most friendships out there, we take a bath.
Big bubble bath. Bubble bath. We actually have a bath specially designed, which is about, I want to say 10 meters by 10 meters.
Yes.
Just filled with bubbles in the middle of the woods as well.
Like that meme, we are 10 feet apart because we're not gay.
But we weren't 10. We were like very close to each other.
We don't really use the rest
almost inside of each other.
We don't need that big of a bath, but you know, we
don't. No. It completely wastes space and water. Do you know how long that takes to fill up? Anyway, regardless, we tried to take a bath, or a bath, but
a what?
A bath.
A bath.
A bath.
A bath. No, a bath. You're correct. Go
on. But we ran into a bit of a problem, and the problem was we didn't have a rubber duck.
No,
no rubber ducky.
I don't know about that. I'm assuming everyone in the audience would agree with us that.
Well, I mean, it's human nature.
Exactly. Like I don't think I've ever had a bath without a rubber duck.
I don't know if it's possible.
No, you can't have the satisfaction of watching him like bob around like. What do you do? You know, it's just boring otherwise. I can't even comprehend how you do that activity without a rubber duck.
I honestly don't think you could get in the bath without a rubber duck because the rubber duck, like, it makes the bath. Like,
yeah, you need him to check.
Otherwise, it's a puddle.
You need him to check if the water's okay, not poisonous, temperature's all right, and you know, then he invites you in. So if he's not there, like, how...
Yeah, he does.
Yes. But if he's not there, what do you even... It's just it's a non-starter, really, is it?
disgusting. So obviously we couldn't take the bath. We'd run it. We'd spent gallons and gallons of water on it. So much water was wasted.
Swimming pool.
Yeah, but we didn't get in it because obviously there was no rubber duck. So we went to my mum's house. And basically, we were scrounging around in there. I went to hers for tea, and we found a treasure map. Oh, my mum lives in the Great Pyramid of Giza. For anyone that doesn't know.
Well, as we thought, because they worship ducks in the classic in ancient Egypt.
I'm pretty sure that's something they do.
Yeah, so we thought that your mum might have a rubber duck available.
Well, also she was baking a nice casserole.
Yeah, so we were going there anyway, but we were like, fuck it, she might have a bloody rubber duck. Because, most people obviously should and do have rubber ducks.
Mm-hmm. But she wouldn't part with her rubber duck. It's fair, that's fair. A rubber duck's personal to each person.
Exactly, you don't want, anyone, you don't want to cheat on your rubber duck.
No, and I don't want to steal someone else's rubber duck from them. It's very sentimental. But there was we found a treasure map.
We did.
Which was a little bit exciting. And this treasure map was a treasure map to what it said was a rubber duck.
Could you believe it? What are the odds?
I could not. I actually spent several days screaming because I didn't believe it that much.
And then you could speak.
Yeah. It was horrible, actually. But once I'd calmed down and I'd stopped screaming, we're like, you know what? Get a boat, and we'll go and find this rubber duck.
Yeah, because it seemed like it was a like a calling, a quest. It was like it almost seemed destined that we were looking for a rubber duck. Didn't have one, found this map. It almost seemed like it would be wrong not to go and go on this adventure. So first we had to find a boat.
Which we ultimately stole. I mean...
Yeah.
Boats are hard to find.
Yes, I think we stole it from John Cena. He was in Egypt.
On holiday probably.
Yeah, or filming something, or like wrestling an Egyptian, something like that.
But he wasn't there.
No,
so...
but he had this amazing like 14th century wooden
galleon.
Yes, it was beautiful. Yeah. And it actually had on the sails. One had a picture of you on, and the other one had a picture of me
I
on.
thought it was a bit weird.
And then on the side of it, it did say in massive letters, "Property of John Cena." So it was a bit confusing, but we thought, well, if he's got our fucking pictures,
he's clearly a fan.
Yeah,
and I don't think he'd mind if we take it.
No.
So I was all for it. We set sail. Off the coast of Africa, and this is sort of when we realised that neither one of us could read a map.
No, we knew,
especially
the direction a little
bit,
the vibe of the map,
the aura, but also because it was it didn't really help that the map was sort of like the ones you get in McDonald's, sort of the crayon.
Yeah.
It just had like a picture of an island with a palm tree, and then the sun, and then a treasure chest, and it just had a wiggly line. So it wasn't particularly helpful. But we thought we could suss it out. It's not that hard, is it?
No, we're both smart individuals, and I think we also thought that we needed to get some crewmates, because if we're on such a large ship, on such a grand quest, we needed some people along the way to help us with some different abilities and aspects to them. So if we did need someone that could read a fucking map first.
Yeah, we needed a suicide squad. So we was like, okay, so let's make a suicide squad. Because also we sort of were just docking anywhere we felt.
Yeah, we
needed to be docked in.
Well, yeah, we needed some food, supplies, and.
So, do you remember the first place we docked? Because I can't actually remember where it was. I just sort of remember the look of it.
It was. I remember it being very, very No, I can't remember the name. It was something roundabout something.
Roundabouts, yes.
Yeah, I think it was the
The
roundabout.
the island of roundabout.
That was it. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it was just a big roundabout. There's nothing else on the island.
Yeah.
There's just cars going around and around.
Yeah, and just a big old pier
Yeah.
for us to come into. And then who did we
Don't know
pick
whose
up?
idea that was.
Who did we pick up there? No, it was strange. I think we saw it. We were like, well, we have to go to there, just because we got there. And there was a very weird guy who was like, "Welcome to Roundabout Island," and we were like, "Yeah, right." Okay,
I was tempted to punch him, to be honest.
Yeah,
I was really tempted
he
to
was,
just let him
he
fly.
had a really annoying voice, and then we said like, "Okay, so what's the point? What's on Roundabout Island?"
What is the point?
And he was like, "A roundabout," and then Scott did punch him. After
I
he
did,
said that.
yeah. Because that really pissed me off.
And I think you just knocked him out cold, to be honest.
Well, he sort of deserved it.
Yeah. So it was there. Who did we pick up and join our crew on?
I think the Roundabout Island was basically because it just had cars going around.
Yes.
There was one that sort of caught my eye because it was a bit of a weird car, and basically inside a lot of the drivers were sort of human people in these cars, as you would assume.
Yes.
But one of them just had an inflatable dinosaur in,
Oh,
and I thought that was a
yeah.
bit weird. Because I was like, well, I thought it was a joke. I thought someone just put an inflatable dinosaur in. And then I realised that it was actually, like, steering the wheel. And I went to Matt, I went, did the mushrooms I took earlier fuck me up? Or was that an inflatable dinosaur in a car?
No, and I did not take mushrooms because I
No.
wanted them when we got...
Yeah.
we were taking
You
in
were
turns.
only on Xanax.
Yes. What is Xanax again?
Xanax is the ADHD medication.
Oh, of course, yeah. Yes, I do need that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it was a dinosaur. Actually, what kind of dinosaur was it? I'm not very good at dinosaurs. You're like an
I
autistic
don't know,
dinosaur
some sort of
man.
T-Rex.
Some
It was
sort of-
inflatable, so it wasn't,
There's a T-Rex, yeah.
I think it was a T-Rex. It had big chompers, although they were also inflatable, so... But basically, I ran in front of his car, because I was like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
And then he ran me over, which I didn't really appreciate.
Is that when you lost one of your limbs?
No, I didn't lose my limbs. I did break about 2 of my ribs, though.
Oh, yeah.
But then he stopped the car and he got out, and he started talking to us. And that's when I was really like, okay, nah, these must be the mushrooms. Because I didn't expect, like, it's one thing to see an inflatable dinosaur drive. It's another thing for it to start talking to you. And also he had a really weird Cockney accent, which I thought was really weird because it's a dinosaur. I wouldn't have thought
No, you would
it'd
think
be
it
from
would.
London.
You would think they would have like a Texan accent.
Or go raw, you know?
Yeah, but like T-Rex Texan. I don't know why that is similar, but in my head that works.
Nah, yeah, but he was just like, oh, don't blimey, governor, what are you doing? And I was like, well, you just ran into me, but we're looking for, like, a crew. And then, Matt, you said, like, oh, I think he found it a bit racist, but Matt was like, oh, we're looking for a rubber duck, and you're an inflatable dinosaur, so maybe there's common ground there.
Yeah. Well, in my head, I thought, rubber duck. The suit was made out of like, inflatable plastic, and because the rubber ducks aren't actually made of rubber; they're plastic, aren't they? So
Yeah, no, it's understandable.
So it made sense in my head, and I showed him the map because I was like, "Well, we need someone to play read this map and know where we're going." And like, I think he got offended because I handed him the map and he grabbed it, but he couldn't like pivot his head while reading the map in his tiny little arms. So he got really upset and he started crying.
Yeah.
But because even though he seemed pointless and he didn't at that point he couldn't read the map, so we thought, well, we don't really need him. But because he started crying, I did feel bad, and we invited him on anyway.
Yeah, he did win his car, which I was a bit sort of like, we didn't really want you to do that.
No.
But if he's on a roundabout island, that's the only thing he owns. So he does.
He was in it. The car was a black black cab, like a taxi, like a London taxi car, because I guess that's why he has the Cockney accent, like classic London
weird
cabbie driver.
So yeah, that was our first little pickup.
What was his name again?
His name's Gary.
Gary, that was it. Gary
I
the
believe.
T-Rex.
Gary the cunt.
Gary the cunt. No.
So
he gets upset. He's a very emotional guy. Like, if you called him a cunt, I think he would have fucking drowned himself, honestly.
Yeah, once I made fun of his Cockney accent, and he did hang his head over the side of the ship for about 2 hours trying to drown himself.
And then he didn't. I think he didn't actually speak for like a couple of days.
Yeah.
And then, but you know,
I don't know. That's because he got into my mushroom stash. It might just be.
I can't lie. I was kind of thankful that he didn't start. He stopped speaking.
Oh, he was annoying. Oh, Jesus Christ!
I think the Cockney accent is an awful accent, and when people were like, "Oh, the Cockney accent's dying out. There's less and less people." I'm like, "Good, It's fucking awful. I hate it. It's so annoying. I think it's one of the worst accents in the UK. Honestly, I even think, and this is crazy, I think Scouse is a more pleasant accent than fucking Cockney. But anyway, I digress.
Anyway, yeah, we picked him up. He stopped talking because I made fun of him. Kind of wish he wasn't there, but we just felt bad. So then we sailed on. We kept trying to follow this squiggly line. Basically, we were trying to sail in sort of the general line of the line on the map, which was just sort of squiggles. The problem with that is you don't really know the distance between each squiggle.
Yes.
So we go like right, then left, then starboard, then port. Do the nautical terms.
Yeah, we didn't even have a compass, which I think we should have probably invested in. We were just kind of going. We were just going any way we fucking pleased, to be honest. But I think we were making progress, and probably why we were gone for so long, and it took so long to get there. But luckily, we got to there was one. I remember there was one morning we woke up and it was like really, really foggy, and me and Scott were arguing about if we should go like make a left squiggle or a right squiggle, and then we heard like this engine in the sky, like a really loud kind of an old style like biplane almost, like a World War
and I thought
plane.
I thought it was the wrath of God coming to smite us down.
Yeah, or I thought it was like, hey, are these bloody Nazis coming? But it wasn't. They managed to land this plane on our boat. Yeah,
which was impressive. Well, I mean, they did smash both masts.
Yeah, it did kind of fuck the boat up.
The plane exploded, and we were on a wooden boat, so that was a big problem.
Yeah, but luckily, Gary is a great firefighter. He absolutely leaped into action. He did.
Yeah.
So even though I do hate on his accent, his firefighting skills were amazing. But after we
basically sopped up the water with his snout and then spat it on the fire.
It was glorious.
It was very impressive.
And then we got to a point where we had, got rid of all the fire, and then the person that stepped out of this plane was Amelia Earhart.
Wow, I was shook. I
didn't know what I don't actually know what Amelia Earhart looked like. I'm at that point
big Earhart fan. Aries, they call us. I love her.
Aries, what, isn't like the god?
Yeah.
Or just airs in airplanes.
Yeah, Aries.
But
airplanes. They got us the airplanes.
I think it was almost destiny that we went on this adventure because we were trying to find a rubber duck, because we wanted a bath and we didn't have a rubber duck, and we wanted that bath because we felt so dirty after our last episode where we were discussing whether planes weren't or were real. And then Amelia Earhart, which is almost, I would say, probably one of the most famous pilots in human history, almost, one of them. And if you don't know, Amelia Earhart flew across the Atlantic. I don't know if she was the first. Let's just say she's the first.
I think she was the first woman, at least.
At the very least.
She might be the first person.
But she got lost, and no one
She did, for quite a while.
Yeah, and everyone just assumed, oh, she's dead, isn't she?
Mm-hmm.
But when she came out of our plane, she was not some 116-year-old woman.
Which is mad, because she went in 1930 something, I think.
Yeah.
So you would have thought she'd aged a bit.
But no, she was like in her like mid-30s.
Yeah.
Very, very beautiful woman, I have to say. And she was just like, "You right, guys?" And we were like,
she was very chill about it. And I was a bit like, I was conflicted, because on one point it's Amelia Earhart and I'm a massive fangirl. But on the second part, you did just fuck our boat majorly. We can no longer set, like, there's the mast's gone, it's in the water. So I was a bit conflicted whether or not to shout her or, like, squeal with prepubescent delight.
Yeah, you were kind of I could tell, and I don't know if it was because on that particular day, I think you were also on mushrooms again.
It was just every day.
You would almost take it, almost every day.
Yeah.
And because you were just I knew that you were freaking out, so I was like, right. And then I came to the conclusion that, wait, hang on a minute, she has fucked her boat, which is annoying, but she must be, even though she did get lost. Yeah, she must be a decent navigator.
She must be able to read a map. That's what we
at the very least, better than me, Scott, or Gary. And then we kind of had a little chat. She said that she'd she knew. I assumed she would be like, "Oh, so what year is it?" And we would have been like, 2024. It would have blown her mind.
She was a cucumber, mate.
She knew what was going on. She knew that Trump was president in 2016. She just knew random facts.
Yeah, and we were like, well, where have you been? Because everyone's looking for you, mate. And she went, oh, I just went in a time vortex. And we were like, sorry? She was like, yeah, just popped into a little time pocket.
Yeah, and she actually said that she said, oh yeah, I'm master of time now.
Oh yeah, she's the Lord of Time.
It was just some normal thing.
We were like, well, we want you on our side. Because also that was when we realised that we weren't the first going towards the rubber ducky, because she was talking about how actually a bunch of Nazis followed her into the time pocket window.
Of course.
And they also would go in for the rubber ducky because apparently it has infinite power.
Which I kind of got confused why. And what specifically meant by infinite power, because that's such a loose descriptor. Infinite power. Yeah. What does that mean? Infinite power to
can't be
take
infinite, can it?
To take baths. I'm assuming that's what I.
Or maybe that's what it was. I mean, isn't every rubber ducky a source of infinite power in its own way?
Yeah,
because the amount of happiness it gives us is infinite within itself.
Yeah, it makes you extremely happy. It makes you as clean as a whistle.
I'll sell my arm for rubber ducky, and I have done.
I was going to say you have.
That's where one of my limbs went.
So we did have to almost. So we were happy, but also annoyed that
the race was on as well. The race was on between the Nazis.
Yeah, we had to get a move on, but we spent the next 2 weeks trying to fix these masts.
Yeah,
and then
but she's also a great lumberjack.
She is, and it was
surprisingly,
and it was strange that in her tiny biplane she had 30 logs of wood in it as well.
Yeah,
which is crazy. And then
it was handy.
I can't remember why we did this, but I also distinctly remember spending an extra week or two sewing on Gary's and Amelia's faces onto the sails.
Well, we wanted to make them feel included,
But in hindsight, we probably would have had a better chance of racing the Nazis to this.
It definitely hurt our chances, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was to build morale. I stand by it. I still think that was a good thing to do.
Okay, well, we'll agree to disagree. But anyway, it was all part of this story, and we couldn't change we can't go back and change. This actually happened, so we can't go back and change fact.
We made mistakes, okay, guys. We're not some perfect thing, all right? So stop fucking judging us.
Exactly. Yeah, you there listening to this podcast right now, judging us. Stop it.
I can see your eyes. I don't know what you're thinking.
Just stop it.
Anyway, should we run through a couple of we want to get to the exciting bit, so I'll just run through a couple of the people. Basically, the consensus is we bounced around a lot. Like, even with Amelia's precision navigational skills, it ultimately was a map from McDonald's with a little squiggle on. I mean, at that point, we'd even discovered the logo at the top right, which just had the McDonald's symbol on. So it most definitely was from the franchise McDonald's. Which meant it wasn't entirely accurate through no fault of their own. I'm not blaming McDonald's for it.
Well, you could do. But,
I am blaming McDonald's
they could. It was weird that they produced a map that had a rubber duck on it, and then this magical rubber duck was actually real. So I think they're part of the conspiracy.
Well, that's a topic for another.
Of
debate.
Course. We don't.
But basically, we bounced around. We went to a nice few places. We went to India. Went to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Madagascar. That was nice.
Yes.
And basically, we collected a few people. We got we had the the guy from those DVDs that goes, "Thank you." We had him.
What guy? The thank you guy.
Yeah, the thank you guy. You remember by purchasing this DVD?
Oh yeah.
We had that guy come on board.
Yeah, and he just had like a blank.
And that's all he would fuck. He was actually more annoying than the inflatable guy.
Yeah, because he also didn't have he had like a blank face with just a mouth. He had like no nose, no eyes.
Terrifying.
It was terrifying, and that's all he said the whole time.
But he wouldn't stop following us, so we invited him on.
Yeah.
After all, and then
because we had like a lack of people.
We did.
So
we needed
were like,
more.
all right, we need more people, and then he kind of turned up, and we were like, "Fuck,
you'll do."
I guess we'll have him
to defeat the Nazis. We needed some sort of an army, So we just started grabbing people at the docks whenever we landed.
And then one of the people that we bumped into. This is when we were taking a break at I think it was it South Africa? I think.
I think it was Madagascar.
Oh, Madagascar, that was it. And we bumped into Tom Hanks in the flesh.
Yeah.
But we got there and we was like, oh my god, it's Scott, it's Tom Hanks. And then we ran up to him and introduced ourselves, told him our adventure, but he refused to acknowledge that he was Tom Hanks, and he was just demanding that he was. His name was Woody.
Woody from Toy Story.
Yeah,
he was like method acting, but it was weird.
Yeah, he was dressed up as well, and he was like, I don't know who Tom Hanks is.
Because he was dressed up in a Woody outfit, but it was also sort of lingerie. So I think it was a bit.
Yeah, and
I think it was some sort of kid thing.
And he kept on touching my back and saying, "There's a snake in my boot."
He kept whispering that in my ear, and I was a bit like, "You can take your snake out of your boot, mate."
Yeah, I'm gonna poison your water hole. That was weird.
Yeah, I don't know that. I think that was a threat more than anything. But,
was it? Oh.
Yeah, we brought him back on because we were like, well, if he wants to poison our water hole, maybe he can poison the Nazis' water hole, Exactly. So we brought him on. Then we set sail again. We found God. We found God.
Which one?
Just the definitive.
Oh, right,
I think he was just the guy, the big guy. Found him on the sort of Solomon Islands, and I was like, you know what, having God in our team, that sounds pretty good. So he came on board, and he was pretty chill. He was pretty cool.
Yeah,
you would have thought for such a such a powerful entity that he would be a bit vain or bratty, but he was pretty humble guy.
Yeah, but he also seemed kind of akin to Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings. He almost was like, I'm going to come with you guys, but I'm not really going to
do much.
Yeah, do much, or I'm not going to use my infinite power to help you guys.
I mean, you say thinking about it, he did look exactly like Zoe Magellan.
Yeah, he did.
So maybe that's just sort of his role play. Maybe he likes that. I don't know. Maybe he likes coming down to earth and just being Gandalf.
That would be cool.
But it was cool that we had God on our team. You know, Amelia Earhart's one thing. I'm a big fan of Amelia Earhart, but it's not every day that you get to meet God.
Yeah.
And he comes on your quest.
But he kept on saying, "Could you please call me Sir God?"
And I was like,
"Right,
you have to be knighted for that, mate."
Yeah.
Like,
I was like,
I'm sorry, you don't earn that.
The King of England knighted you? No.
Yeah. So how about you take a fucking step down, mate? Because you're not Zoe McKellen as much as you want to be.
No.
Just a bit disrespectful.
Yeah, he wishes, to be honest, that he was.
He does wish. Anyway, and then that other guy as well. What's his name?
Nigel Farage.
Yeah. He came along.
Yeah, he was very annoying.
Yeah.
He kept talking about Brexit, and we were like, yeah, well, that's happened, mate.
It's done, mate.
Yeah.
Let it go. And
then he kept talking about his experiences on the I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Like, he almost like he was just trying to like make it all about him.
It's all about him, wasn't. And I was like, Nigel, we've got Amelia Earhart and we've got God on our ship. You're really not the most interesting person here, so...
Yeah, he was just... Again, I didn't want to tell anyone this, and I didn't even want to tell you, because, especially you on your mushroom trip, was a bit mouthy to people. So
well, I was a bit... I didn't really know if half the people on the ship were real.
Yeah.
I'm glad they were.
Exactly, so I didn't want to tell you this, and then you start telling people, and then it getting around the ship.
Yeah.
But my plan when we got Nigel on board from the very beginning was we're going to use this guy as cannon fodder. We're like, there's going to be a point in our adventure where we could just fucking give him the old 1-2 and save our lives somehow.
He's Nazi bait.
Yeah.
And then also by this point we had also met Dumbo. So he was on the ship by that point as well. That was when I really started to question what was real, because basically Dumbo, he wasn't like he was the animation.
Yeah,
he was the actual animated Dumbo.
He could fly.
And he can fly. He had big ears. Like, he was the spitting image. He was Dumbo.
He was really cute as well.
He was, and when he came on, I was a bit like, okay. I'm definitely seeing things.
I honestly thought you had given secretly.
You thought I spied you.
Yes,
you thought I
did.
spied you,
which caused a massive argument.
Because I was like, dude, mushrooms are mine. I'd keep them. I'd give some to God. He seems to like them, but yeah, because I was like, I thought I was chipping balls, but no. So that was sort of our cohort.
So who? Let's run down the team. We had. Big old
let's
me.
break it down. A team. We had you, me.
Boom.
We had Dumbo, the animated elephant that can fly.
Yeah.
And is magic. We had God, that was sort of role playing as Zoe Magellan or Gandalf.
Yeah, I'm assuming God can just change his appearance at will.
Oh yeah, I'm assuming, but he didn't. He didn't want to.
No, yeah, we were like, there were so many times we were like,
we were like, prove your God, do something godly, and he was like, nah.
No. He was just, and then he would just shout, "You shall not pass."
Yeah,
which was, we were like, yeah, we understand. Yeah, we get it. You're trying to, pretended to be.
There was that one night where we didn't really have enough food to go around, and he did give us a shit ton of fish though,
and bread.
There was loads of fish and bread. Yeah,
so
we were sort of, when that happened, we were like, okay, maybe he's God.
Yeah,
he's just stubborn. So that anyway, yeah, we had Dumbo, we had God, we had me, Matt, Nigel Farage, we had. That inflatable dinosaur,
Gary,
and the guy that goes, by purchasing this DVD.
Yeah. Then we had Tom Hanks, like live action Tom Hanks,
and Tom
Woody,
Hanks.
he was.
Yeah, well, he likes to be called Woody because he didn't like us calling him Tom.
He would just pretend that no one was saying anything. If we were like, Tom, can you come here and help me with this? He would just ignore you. So
yeah.
And then we had, of course, Amelia Earhart as well.
So there was we had quite a big group. It was getting a bit crowded on the boat. So it was nice when we actually, we got to the Amazon rainforest and we pitched up. Because basically, when God got on board, Amelia Earhart started sort of navigating with him, because she was like, well, I don't want to be the guy that gets us lost. So
yeah,
so she
I thought
relegated to God.
I thought she was trying to flirt with him. I thought there was some sort of
Yeah.
weird relationship going on. I guess now that she's Lord of Time, she's maybe more on his level.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure if you're God, it's not very often that you find beings that are in your league.
Mm-hmm.
And as
I did catch them
it's
sort
a
of.
sweet thing.
Yeah, there was once I went down to the lower deck and they were sort of canoodling, and they jumped up really fast when I walked in. So I was like, oh, don't know what you're doing down here, boys. But yeah, so that was an interesting development. But yeah, so with God on our side, we sort of God has said he knew where he was going. He didn't even need the map. He was just yeah, it's that way, and we were like, oh, thanks God.
Yeah, we'll just follow him down the Amazon River. We had to kind of we were at this point we ditched the big John Cena boat.
Yeah. It was too big to get down the river.
Yeah, it was too. Yeah, and
they had canoes in them. There was canoes already in the boat, so we just sort of took them, started sailing down the river in canoes. I paired up with sort of 3 to a canoe. So it was me, Matt, and the thank you guy in one boat.
Yeah, because I think no one else would want.
No one else could stand him. Yeah.
Because it was our quest. We had to bite the bullet and had to be fucking.
Yeah, and the entire time down the river, we were just sort of debating when do we want to kill Nigel Farage.
Yeah, I think the whole crew, Gary, God, Amelia. Woody.
We had many discussions about it.
We were all at this point. We were all aware. At first,
he was gonna die.
First come, first serve. Nigel is gone.
Dead meat. That was a guarantee. Even if we didn't find the place, we all collectively as a group agreed that Nigel was gonna die on this trip. That was his last trip as a person. So we were sort of debating that. We were like, oh, I don't know, poison darts, saw blade, I don't know, push him somewhere. And then we got to the temple.
We did.
And it was pretty hidden. God was basically like, oh, it's here. And I wouldn't have seen it if it wasn't for God, to be fair.
It was completely grown over.
I'm glad we
couldn't see it.
But so, yeah, Emilio Earhart just cut it down. Woody kept, or Tom Hanks, dressed as Woody, kept trying to shoot the vines, but his gun was a prop.
Yeah, it was like a wooden toy.
So I don't really know what the fuck he was doing.
Yeah, it was so annoying because we were walking. So we got into the entrance of this temple, and we were all obviously pretty careful going. So we assumed there would be traps or Nazis around. So we were all taking it very, very cautiously and slowly. But fucking Tom Hanks as Woody, he was just like, I'm gonna go ahead, and he was just charging ahead as the main character, and instantly a saw blade came across the fucking ceiling and just decapitated him.
Oh yeah,
straight away.
Fell to the floor. I thought it was a bit so, and then Amelia Earhart went, oh, Andy's coming, because she saw him fall before. She went, Andy's coming. I thought that was a bit too soon.
I thought it was perfectly timed.
Matt got a chuckle out of it.
It was so good, because I think we were all just standing there in shock that we couldn't even believe what happened, and she broke the silence.
It was the silence. Yeah. It was the silence. Andy's coming, and we've seen his body flop to the floor. Matt was gone. He was gone. Had to wait 5 minutes for him to catch his breath.
I had to recover on it. Yeah, I think everyone was getting annoyed at how long I was laughing, but
yeah. No, it was fine. But yeah, so he died, and he wasn't wooden. He was definitely human.
Oh yeah,
because the amount of blood everywhere, all over the walls. It was awful. Yeah. So then Nigel got a bit scared because he saw someone get decapitated in front of him. So we started pushing him forward.
Yeah, he kept almost making excuses to leave, he had to be somewhere, and he was like, oh no, I think I've got an election coming up, and we were like,
yeah, he said he had to deal with Brexit, and we were like, dude, it's over.
Yeah, you're here now.
We're like, what are you doing?
This is now, this is the new Brexit, this is what we're doing, this is the most important thing.
So it turns out we had to tie him up, eventually. We had to tie his hands like a rope and sort of like tug him.
Yeah, I think God just like slung him over his shoulder.
Yeah, God's pretty hench, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
So then we sort of we kept walking down the corridor, and then we sort of heard German, like in the distance. It's very echoey, and we were like, "Oh shit, the Nazis are here." So then we sort of we knew we had to be careful because Tom Hanks just got decapitated, but also it was sort of a race against time by that point. So we were like, "Oh, we'd have to pick up the pace."
Well, we wanted to go like move quickly but quietly, but the fucking movie guy.
Oh yeah, he wouldn't shut up.
He just wouldn't shut up, and we
every step. Thank you. Like I was, it's like a broken record.
Yeah, and like we were trying to like put our hands over his mouth, and he
bit my fingers.
Yeah, but I think that's how you lost some of your fingers, but then you
lost.
Well,
yeah, I lost two of them.
The same.
Yeah. I lost my arm and my leg later, but we'll get to that. But then, so that's when we started sort of like, I got his legs, you got his arms, and we just started shocking him down the corridor. Just sort of like checking for traps. He seemed fine with it, to be fair. He wasn't resisting very much, as long as we didn't touch his mouth and stop him from saying thank you.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he never really
he was
showed
pretty chill.
Any expression ever, apart from like he just seemed like
bland slave.
A bit annoyed when we were trying to cover his mouth, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then eventually, of course, we got quite away with throwing him through the corridor. And then eventually we threw him and just flames, just a pillar of fire.
Yeah.
We threw him basically onto a barbecue. There was grates in the floor and just a pillar of flames up. And he was still saying thank you when he was on fire.
Yeah, it was mixed, him saying thank you for purchasing it. What it mixed with screams like guttural, like burning to death. Screams.
Yeah, so it got to a point where it was just going, thank you.
Yeah, and then Nigel started like crying his eyes out.
Oh, he was.
I think he shat himself. Honestly, after that, at least I could smell it.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised. It could have been the burning corpse of the thank you guy, but
Yeah, and at this point we're like, fuck, we've lost the thank you guy. We've lost Tom.
So the only weak link we really had there was Nigel Farage.
Yeah.
Because the inflatable dinosaur, he's proved his worth. And then Emilio Earhart and God were both very strong candidates. And Dumbo is... You can't kill Dumbo. Dumbo's Dumbo, like...
Yeah. Because we had, Amelia and God, they were like clearly they were hanging out together. They were going to protect each other, which I think I saw as a good thing because they're going to look out for each other. And then we've got this is a team now. Gary was he's a bloody OG of the crew. At this point, we've been with him for months and months and months. So we wanted Gary
and
to
also,
make it.
His annoying Cockney accent, it grows on you. It does grow on you.
Yeah, he was a sweet guy.
And comparatively to the thank you guy, once the thank you guy got on board, we were like, okay, actually, Gary, I judged you too soon, because he was fucking annoying.
Yeah, I spent lots of long nights on our ship chatting to Gary. He has...
Yeah, I had an intimate relationship with Gary for many of the months that we spent on the ship.
Oh. Did you?
Yeah, the inflatable sort of holes.
Right. Well, Gary said that.
There's nothing else like it.
I thought Gary and my relationship with Gary was special.
No, he was a bit of a whore.
Oh, right.
He's like
That makes sense because he was telling me his life story, and
it's horrible.
He has been married 5 times.
Yeah, and the amount of abuse that he's went. Oh, it's just.
Yeah,
doesn't bear saying. Doesn't bear repeating.
Honestly,
to be honest.
I think I got the after he told me all that, I had the feeling that he kind of felt
damaged.
Well, he almost felt like this was what he wanted this to be his last mission. But me and you, we were determined that we wanted Gary to.
Is that why you tried to lie down next to Tom Hanks while he was on fire?
Yes.
We're not on fire. See, that makes sense.
It was Tom Hanks wasn't on fire. It was the.
Oh, sorry, thank you, die.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, die. I meant thank you, die.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he tried to lie down next to him, and I was like, Gary, you probably don't want to do that. And he looked at me and was like, well, no, I do. But I held him back. So then we continued going, and by that point, there was only 1 week left. It was Nigel Farage. So at that point, we started throwing him into, every sort of trap that we came across. But he just wouldn't die.
No, he got a couple of cuts and bruises.
Yeah. There was a massive swinging sword. There was a swinging lord. He got poison darts hit into him, and he didn't die. And that made it even worse when poor Dumbo. Basically, we were throwing Nigel Farage at everything, and he wouldn't die. So then we got to this sort of opening, and we saw the rubber ducky on the pedestal, and being the excitable little chap that Dumbo is, he was like, "Oh, it's the thing," and he zooms towards it before we have a chance to throw Nigel Farage in there. He zooms towards it and just boom, just a massive stone slab just squashes him.
Yeah, there was a tiny trumpet noise briefly as the stone landed on him,
and then it's gone, and it's just blood everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know animations could bleed.
I was caked in blood. I think everyone
just
was.
Niagara Falls just sprayed over all of us, just absolutely covered in blood, in Dumbo's blood.
And then there was almost these banners, a mezzanine banister railings at the top, surrounding this, because it was quite a large room. And there were these knights with trumpets, medieval knights, and they were just doing the songs from Dumbo. Which
I don't know how they knew them.
No.
They've been trapped in an Aztec temple for the whole of their lives, but for some reason they knew Dumbo, and they were very sad about it. You could tell they were mourning Dumbo.
They were doing Casey Jr., the train song at the start. I don't know if you like.
Sad.
Casey Jr.'s coming round the track.
I haven't seen Dumbo. I just love him. He's just a nice little guy.
Yeah, I think you don't need to see Dumbo for you to appreciate
to like Dumbo.
Yeah, he's just.
It was pretty traumatic. I don't know if I can watch Dumbo now that I've seen him get minced to death by a massive stone slab.
Because we know the end of his story.
No, exactly, and that it spoils it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But we ran into the room, and me and Matt, we know Indiana Jones. We know a lot of archaeology. We see Tomb Raider. We knew that this little rubber ducky was trapped.
Yeah, of course.
And so did all of our friends. So we were sort of we were doing that. But then the Nazis came in, and Amelia Earhart was instantly head Nazi, and there was a Nazi at the front with a big commander cap.
Yeah.
And it was Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, it was, which is crazy, because we thought, because no one actually found, I don't understand what happened. I think
Adolf Hitler was there.
Yeah, he went into the time vortex with Amelia Earhart, which you would have thought, the months and months we spent with her, she would have said that
Adolf Hitler's coming.
Adolf Hitler
you would have thought that would bring up in conversation.
So then I started having an argument with her, and I was like, "Why the fuck did you not tell us that Adolf Hitler's?" I was trying to have this rushed argument, and she was like, "Well, I said the Nazis were here," and I was like, "Yeah, but you could have fucking said
the
Hitler."
Nazi,
and then she was like, "Well, I kind of assumed if I said the Nazis that Hitler would have been among the Nazis," and
then Hitler was just doing Entschuldigung, trying to get our attention, being And I actually felt bad. The first time I ever said this, felt bad for Hitler because we were not paying attention to him at all.
No,
and he was really trying to put on a grand show of being now you are here and I have zero but that, and we were like, I don't care, mate. We were having our own discussion.
And then, which was completely out of the blue, when this happened, Nigel, which we thought was a waste of space, we were just gonna kill him. He pulled a massive sword, like a two-handed long sword.
Yeah, I don't know where he
was out of his blazer, and then he charged Adolf Hitler, and he got so close to him. And then there was a like a Panzer tank in the corner of the room.
Yeah, they managed to get a Panzer tank through the really tiny corridors.
Yeah, exactly.
Somehow they got a Panzer tank in.
And the Panzer tank just fucking fired this enormous shell, and it just blew Nigel like into a million pieces. Again, a fucking rainfall of blood.
Yeah, literally
crazy.
And but me and Matt were like, okay, that's pretty. We didn't really care.
There was a little part of me that was like, go on, Nigel, you know, like.
Well, his sword was still there, so his sword had sort of clattered down, and we were like, me and Matt looked at each other like, okay, the sword's the thing. Yeah. So then we basically went to God and Amelia Earhart. You distract him. We'll get the rubber duck and the sword.
And then their distraction was they just both got immediately naked.
Naked? And I don't know what the fuck was doing.
And they started fucking each other.
Started fucking on the floor.
It was weird because it distracted me and you for a little while as well.
Yeah, everyone was staring. Everyone was distracted.
Me, you, Gary, just like all the Nazis were just staring at them fucking each other. We couldn't take our eyes off of it. It was crazy.
No. And then, so, eventually, we sort of got over the fact that God was fucking Amelia out on the floor.
It was great.
And then we went and got the rubber duck. We sprinted up, got the rubber duck, right next to Hitler, right under his nose. And as soon as I touched the rubber duck, there was this voice in my head saying, like, free me, free me. And I was like, that's not normally what happens when you touch rubber duck.
No, not the ones.
But then I thought, again, the shrooms were kicking in, so I had to give it to Matt to verify that there was a voice inside his head saying, like, free me.
Yeah, and then it was like, kill him, kill your friend.
And then Hitler turns to us and goes, like, aha, you do not know the power of the rubber duck. And then he went on a whole tangent, like a whole 5-10 minute monologue about how, like, Demon of Cthulhu is trapped inside the rubber duck, and like he would give unlimited power to whoever holds it.
And the Aryan race will be the masters of the world. You know, just classic Nazi shit.
Yeah, and then I think I know I was bored. You were bored, but Gary was so bored that he pulled out a Glock and he just shot Hitler in the face.
Yeah. And went bang, and then he like because it was,
and then he killed himself. And then he killed himself.
Yeah, which was awful.
Which was fucked. You ever heard an inflatable dinosaur slowly deflate as a gunshot rings through his head? Like, it was fucked up. But I'm glad he was he's been suicidal for quite a while. You know, he wanted to kill himself back then. I'm glad he waited until he could rid the world of Hitler.
Yeah, so like, you know,
he went out with the last moments of honor.
Exactly. He like we absolutely loved Gary. He was he was like one of our, you know, we both had clearly, which I was shocked. Out.
I was shell shocked when
we both had a sexual relationship with him.
Yeah,
he had a tough life, and he'd done something for the greater of humanity, really, and he didn't need to. And he killed Hitler.
Yeah, Amazing. So he'll always do. I think out of everyone, most respect goes to Gary.
Of course.
So then we started talking to this demon of Cthulhu. By this time, Hitler's army have sort of like, they've gotten tired of watching God fuck me.
Yeah.
And then they've turned back to us. And they realise we've got the rubber ducky now. So basically, we called upon the demon. And he was like, free me and I'll kill your enemies. And we were like, sure. We freed him. Because, you know, he seems like a nice chap. And then everyone's faces started melting.
Yeah, including Amelia Earhart, but not God, because God is, you know, God.
Yeah, God just kept going.
Yeah,
it was not fucking horrible. It was
because her entire body was literally melting into a
skeleton,
puddle, and he was still fucking this puddle of flesh. It was awful.
He was so and then like, it got to a point where it was just, the demon was like, thank you, I'm going to go kill the rest of the world. And he zipped off, and we were like, alright. And it ended up with, there's just a bunch of skeletons, the Panzer tank had now melted into scrap. And it was just me, Matt, and God.
Fucking
and God,
puddle of
God
flesh.
God sort of got up, And me and Matt would just looked at him and went, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
Yeah, he had a massive penis.
cock.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Like a horse cock on a man.
it was fucking ridiculous.
like, you know, the length of the sword. It was about the length of the sword that Nigel pulled out. And
he had the expression of like, "Why did you stop my fucking?"
Well, yeah, but then he sort of looked at us, and I think it crossed his mind like that was a bit weird.
Yeah,
because he sort of was like, everyone's dead. Okay, and it was just a bit. It was like 5 seconds of just awkwardness of being like, yeah.
Yeah, he just went. Could you guys not tell anyone about this? But we are telling the whole world.
We told millions of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've also published a book on it. But so he zipped off back up to heaven, and we had now our rubber ducky that was free from demons. So basically, we left the temple fully fine. Left the temple, got back on the ship, and then basically we started sailing back to our hometown. You know, we wanted to get back in our bath.
Because we were both covered in blood at this point.
Covered in blood, and we were very dirty. We needed a bath. And it was actually running the bath. We got back, everything was fine. I'd lost an arm and a couple of fingers at that point, but running the bath, I actually managed to lose a leg and my other arm.
Which
was
I don't know. I wasn't even in the room when it happened because you were.
I don't think I was because I was so high on shrooms. Don't know how it happened, but I just remember getting in the bath and being like, "Oh, I got one leg," and being like, "Oh fuck."
And
then
what happened was, so we ran the bath. You got in the bath, and then I came in. I had the rubber duck.
So this was like a week ago at this point.
Yeah, and then
like we've just got back.
Well, then once the rubber duck hit the water, all of your limbs came back.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Yeah.
Like I guess there must have been just a bit of like residue power left in the duck.
I mean, as I said, I took the arm off the guy on the way. We stopped for a little, schmoozing session on our way home, and I took a guy's arm just in a sort of bet. We made a bet. Took his arm. Didn't need that anymore because the rubber duck healed me. And I think that's really the moral of the story is the price of happiness. I think it was the happiness that the duck gave me.
Yeah,
I think
arms. It was in the grand scheme of things. Everything that happened, all the people that died, lost their lives. I
think it was worth it.
It was worth it for that rubber duck. Yeah,
because then we could take a bath, and it took us several long months of hardship and pain and people dying, but we found Amelia Earhart, which was one of the great mysteries.
Yeah,
so
solved that.
There we go. We wrote a book about it in a week. That's why it took another week to do the podcast. And we finally got our rubber duck, and we feel refreshed now to come back and start doing more shows on Radio in the Weeds.
Yeah.
Because we're all clean from that other episode now.
Yeah, we've gone on this
we're good.
Adventure. There was we made some friends along the way. We saw some wonderful things that we wish we could have recorded and you all to see. But this is our document.
I just didn't want to.
I wish I
had
did.
a phone.
I think if we recorded God and Amelia having sex, I think that would have been the best, the most famous sex tape of them all.
Yeah.
Step aside Kim Kardashian.
I would tend to agree.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
But anyway, that is all we have to say. I think that concludes our adventure.
Yeah.
From February till now, and we just want you all to know that every word of this is true. We've written a book about it. If you want to go buy that, it's called God's Great Schlond. So if you want to go buy that, and it details everything we've told you here. So you're just getting it straight from the donkey's mouth.
Yeah, we do go into more detail of the stops and the way,
especially the girth and length of God's.
Yeah,
there's a whole chapter dedicated to that. There's also a whole chapter dedicated to how many ways we would kill Nigel Farage if we had the chance.
Yeah, I didn't have much respect for him, but going into this, but it did. The final charge of his shit-stained trousers with this amazing great sword running at Adolf Hitler. It was amazing.
Yeah, and it was nice that he actually did something worthwhile in his life.
Yeah, well, he didn't.
We did actually do it, but he tried.
Yeah, he tried.
So anyway, we're back. We're washed. We're two boys ready to take on the world.
We are. Well, thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you were all excited for the radio in the weeds.
Radio in the reeds.
Reeds.
We're changing the name.
Yeah, we're changing the name.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Radio in the Weeds. Make sure to tune in next week for jokes, gags, and general tomfoolery. Bye-bye.